Bernie. Episode 12.
Like buses.
Just keep coming. Just keep coming. Then you get one, the next one. However, this one is an important... It's like an emergency meeting, I feel like. This is an emergency show that we've created here today.
We used to have plenty of them when we used to work at Torquay Golf Club together, didn't we?
Emergency meeting. Run out of golf balls. Run out of water, generally, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, this is episode 12. They did say...
It would never last.
It would never last, but we are continuing on. We're battling on through it. But we've called an emergency meeting, and you'll notice that I am wearing my Stingers... I think it's a Stinger. I think they're called Stingers. My Stingers LIV hat, because anytime there's emergency news about LIV, I want to now put on the LIV hat. Okay? So that's my thing. Just before we move on to the big hot potato here that's in the oven or in this room... Just what do you think about the names of these LIV teams? I mean, the Stingers, the Aces, like what would we be?
The Nudgers.
The Nudgers. That was yeah, that's perfect. Yes, right. We're starting a team. Bernie and I, the Nudgers.
We need two more though.
Two more people required. Two more people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why we've called this meeting, or I've called this meeting, is that Bernie's come storming into the office today and has informed me that...
There's a new signing. I don't know if it's 100% confirmed yet, but the rumours seem to be gathering pace. It's not been officially announced, but maybe by the time you see this, hopefully you can get it out before, depends how quick Dan's editing is, there will be a massive... Well, I've got
new
a problem
signing. Problem is, episode 11 is scheduled to go out, but we could end up with 12 going out before 11.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, the LIV. There's going to be some. They're still short of players for 2024 season, and it's less than 2 weeks now before the first event actually kicks off.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of rumours, and one seems to be gathering more and more pace, and I think it's only literally a matter of hours before it gets announced. And you're a big fan of this particular golfer, aren't you?
Well, it's more like I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan of him and been following his journey. I feel like I've been thrown into this because I felt sorry for him.
Yeah,
I should never feel sorry for a millionaire golfer at all.
No,
but I felt bad for him.
Yeah, I mean, he in my opinion should have been. I mean, don't get me wrong. We can now Luke Donald has justified all his selections for the Ryder Cup because we know what happened. We won it comfortably, but I believe, and I know you believe probably a little bit stronger than I do, that this particular golfer should have been in that team. On form, on ability, and I think he would have been, well, he definitely would have been a future Ryder Cup player, which now he won't be a future Ryder Cup player if he's made the decision to join LIV.
Can we at least tell everybody who this individual is?
I thought we were going to do the whole podcast
we were going to go through the whole thing.
Actually mentioning his name, like a load of clickbait, so they have to get to the end to find out who we were talking about.
We actually met him at the Open Championship this year at Royal Liverpool.
He was massive as well, wasn't he?
Really tall guy, isn't he? Big feet, tall guy. Adrian Meronk.
Well, yeah.
And he is now... Polish, yeah. He has now decided to... by the look of it, from our leaks within the press, that I feel like we know a lot of people now within the press, so we're able to get access to knowledge of things that drop before the world gets to know.
And we're sharing it with, I was going to say the paying public, but this is all free, so we're sharing it with you guys and girls at home, and it's a shock, really, isn't it? Are you shocked by it?
No, because I said it, didn't I? I said, if you remember rightly, when Adrian Meronk was, we were going through, we've been through, let's say episode 5 of this particular podcast. We talked about, we were gibbering on about at the time. We were gibbering on about the fact that Rory McIlroy is winning, and then there's John Ram getting all these points for these things, and we wittered on a little bit about that. And then we moved into wittering on about the Ryder Cup and the selection for the Ryder Cup, and I just felt really disappointed that Adrian Meronk had been left out for a number of reasons. Certainly the fact that he was a 3-time winner on the DP World Tour that year.
He'd won around that golf course.
He'd won the Italian Open at the Ryder Cup venue.
It would also be the first Polish golfer to play on the Ryder Cup, which is great for that particular region. the surrounding countries, and
Yeah.
and we're trying to. We hear the slogan all the time: "Grow the game." That's the one, isn't it? Grow the game.
that game.
Whatever that means. But having a sort of a hero, and the Ryder Cup is such a massive, massive event which is broadcast all around the world, even countries or places that are not in Europe or not in America, they watch it. It's the best. It's the pinnacle, in my opinion, of team golf.
Yeah.
Professional team golf.
Absolutely.
And him not being in it, that was just, for me, it just left a bit of a sour taste. But I'm not surprised he's joining LIV.
Not at all. I just knew that since that moment, you could tell that he was really annoyed with the selection process of the Ryder Cup. And, there's going to be people listening to this podcast, and there's going to be people worldwide that are going to go, well, just whatever, disappear.
Yeah.
Fine. If your toys are out the pram, off you go,
There's got to be
take it like a man and off you go.
There's got to be a bit of that, though, because most of us are emotional people. I can only use an example of myself, and it's not, don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing myself anywhere in levels of ability, money, finances, etc. But I tried to get in the Devon County Southwest Week team. I played county first team. I'd done that for like 2 or 3 years. I'd had some really good finishes. I'd won a few bigger events, and I was well up the order of merit. But I didn't. One year I was told I was going to be in the team and selected, and somebody won the county championships who wasn't in the team, and that time they always put the winner of the county championship in the team. So I missed out, and that was the reason I turned professional.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not waiting another year to get in this team that I felt that I should have been in for the last 2 Southwest Weeks. And I think I'm just going to get on. I'm wasting my time. It's going to be the same captain next year. I'm going to turn pro. And I actually turned pro. One of the main reasons was because I didn't get in the Southwest team.
Yeah. And what's really interesting about this is if you think about the journey of a young kid coming up through the ranks, they do well as an amateur, they play college golf, whatever it is, there is a process of where they want to get themselves, and their end goal is obviously to be a major winner and things like that. Generally, I'm not saying that everybody's in that camp, but the progression from amateur ranks to then getting your tour card to then graduating off the DP World Tour and then making a life for yourself over in America and playing PGA Tour golf. Yeah. Adrian Meronk, I don't know his background, but he's done that process. So he's gone onto the DP, got his tour card, he's won on the DP World Tour, he's finished in the top 10, so he's got his PGA Tour card. He's not a young man in golfing terms, is he? He's not the 20-year-old amateur winning a massive event. He's 30. He's in his 30s, isn't he? Well, he's 30. Yeah. That's what he is. But he's gone through the process that I've just mentioned there because he was on the Challenge Tour. He went over to America for his university. Yeah. So he did college golf in America. So he's been through the progress of becoming a PGA Tour player. But that journey has took him a considerable amount of time, hasn't it? An effort. I mean, he's not like a Rory who's... In fact, every single step along his journey was pretty rapid. Yeah. He's taken until he's 30 years old... To get to that point. I mean, how old would he be when he left college golf? 22, 23, max, 21? I mean, maybe he went through high school. 23 max, I would think. So 7 years to get to a position where would have probably been one of his end goals or targets. Yeah, but I would say that's like that. There's always going to be kids that buck the trend on that and then go through your Rorys and people like that. But but he's done. I would say that the progression that he's done is actually the right way to go about it, in the fact that there's no right or wrong way, but what I mean is like he's cut his teeth at every level to get to where he's got to, and therefore that's probably why he's won a few times, because he's got himself into some more comfortable positions because he's worked his way up. Disappointed that once he's got to what we would consider the pinnacle and playing on that tour, that he hasn't really tested himself on the PGA Tour as much. He's not won over there, has he? He's literally only just got on it, hasn't he? I'm not disappointed at all. No. I am not surprised at all that this has happened. No. I think it just purely, to me, highlights that golf is drastically changing. You know, what I mean by that is that, you know, at the end of the day, these guys turn pro to make a living out of golf.
Yeah.
And they want to earn as much money as they possibly can in, you know, and create a lifestyle for themselves.
Yeah.
Nobody's against that at all, 100%. And I'm all for it. That's their job at the end of the day. But it just shows that the carrot of the PGA Tour is no longer a carrot.
Do you think, I mean, if let's look into the future, 10 years time, LIV's still going, it's in the same sort of format, we got a team competition as such, you're wearing that stupid hat.
Louis signed this.
I mean, it's the stupid hat. Do you think there's going to be kids walking around golf courses? I mean, I'll be honest with you, in the UK, I've never seen anybody wear a LIV team hat on the golf course. I've not seen like a 15-year-old lad or a 12-year-old girl. I've never seen anybody wear one other than you. I mean, they must wear them when they go and watch the tournament. But do you think there's going to be people that will be wearing those hats? Do you think there's going to be people supporting those teams?
I think we talked about this briefly as the World Tour, didn't we? Where, you know, at the end of the day, the LIV structure is not it.
No.
You know, team golf is, if you're going to do it, it's like college football in America. It's like, you know, college golf in America. You know, it does get a big supporting factor to a point on the, but it has to be televised. Like, it has to be on, you know, it has to be mainstream TV. You're not, you know, YouTube is YouTube, and it's still finding its feet. You know, but I don't think team golf is going to be the key factor for this. I still think there can be team events going on, but not every week.
No.
You know, there can be an English team or a such and such team, or go and play on the PGA Tour or play on a tour, but then play in another. And I'm just thinking of things like Speedway.
Yeah.
You know, when I grew up, my dad was a rode motorbike, so I was in and around motorbikes for a long, long time, and you know, a close friend of ours was a guy called Kelvin Tatum. Well, Kelvin Tatum, who was like a world long track champion, you know, he raced in a few different teams.
Yeah.
As in, like, so he would race in the English league, and he'd be racing for, I don't know, Swindon or whoever. But then he'd be off to Poland the next week and racing over there.
My dad did the same, playing table tennis.
You know, I think that's got a place in golf potentially to play.
I mean, Speedway, they have guests in teams, don't they? I remember going to watch. We had a team, XFL. Was it XFL?
Exeter, yeah. Yeah,
so Exeter had a team. And but you get guests. So like when I went a couple of times, like Joe Screen, I think he was world champion. It might be wrong, but definitely UK or British champion. And he was like guesting for Exeter. He'd been in Exeter, he'd ridden for them previously, but he came back and rode for them a couple of times. And there was people moving around.
Potentially, I can't remember exactly how it used to go.
Look at motor racing. The people walk around like with Ferrari hats on, and they go and watch, and they support an actual team.
But the team is kind of like, it's like the constructors thing, isn't it? But they are dedicated to that team before. They're dedicated to the person, probably, so like your Max Verstappen, so they'll wear Red Bull because Max Verstappen. I think.
So if he then signed a contract with McLaren, would they all start wearing McLaren stuff?
Possibly.
Or would they just carry on wearing their team colours and support if Lewis Hamilton signed for them?
But what you're going to find if you said to an Italian person, you know, who's your favourite race team? He's going to say Ferrari.
Yeah, of course.
Like if you ask a German, you know, what's your favourite race team? He's probably going to say Mercedes. Like, you know, British people will follow either a British individual or a British team, won't they? In that front with motorsport.
I know we're going now.
We're off. We've gone off golf beyond.
We've gone back to the start where we were saying about the teams. And I know they're starting to group like the golfers into basically teams as well of nationalities a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you think that's how it could potentially then be like a Team England or?
Well, I think that's where you're going to get more of a following.
Yeah.
I really do. I think if you spread that, like, I love the fact that, you know, the Stingers, they're South Africans.
Yeah.
So they're good friends. They travel together. They do everything together. But then the South African guys can get behind that team because they're a group of South Africans. And you know, if John Ram, you know, what would it, you know, if you think about it, a great team for LIV would have been John Ram and Sergio Garcia and whoever else you can drag out of the Spanish contingent. Let's say a Larrazabal.
Pablo,
you could drag someone like that into that team and create it from that. You've got your Mark Leishmans and your, you'd have had your Adam Scott in there.
I'm still shocked he's never signed.
I am.
I
shocked.
thought he would have been one of the first when it was first announced. I thought, because he is someone who's travelled a lot and played on lots of different tours, and he's dipped in and out of different tours, hasn't he? I thought he would have been like the first, especially at this stage in his career. I thought he would have been one of the first names to sign, but he still remained pretty loyal to PGA PGA Tour and other.
So my question then is, whose team is Adrian Meronk going on to, do you think?
Absolutely no idea.
No idea. I mean, is he going on to John Rahm's team? Is that because he's
still
got places available?
So I mean, we're going to be now when this goes out. Probably close to a week before it starts, and there's still places in teams that have not been filled. This is interesting, isn't it? It seems to be like, I don't know. I just think you should have had all your eggs in your basket and all sorted out and all finalised before the end of the year. Really, that should have been done, dusted, and signed off.
The problem they've got is there's lots of major contracts that are involved with players.
Yeah.
Whether it's their commercial deals that they personally hold. These are all things that they need to go through before they can sign up for that sort of stuff, and this is why it's probably taken to the last minute. And it's, you know what, Bernie? Now this has happened. That thought of you had that you said that Nick Dunlap has pulled out. Is there an opportunity that he's going to cash in and go, thanks a lot, I'm just going to go to LIV and I'm going to earn X amount of money and I'm going to, I don't know. Originally I said no, not a chance, because he's an American and he's going to focus on the PGA Tour because that's the journey.
Yeah.
But when Meronk says, do you know what, I don't really want my PGA Tour card. I'm happy to go off and do this, do something else. I say, good on him. I really do. I'm disappointed, but on the flip side is that I think that golf is changing in a massive way. It's rapidly moving, backtracking of Rory McIlroy, John Rahm going.
I was just going to ask the question: who would shock you? What would be the biggest shock if let's say they announce someone out of the blue tomorrow, day after, he signed for LIV? Who would shock? I mean, John Rahm was a bit of a shock for me. He seemed such a Ryder Cup stalwart, and someone who would have been part of the makeup of the Ryder Cup team, potential captain for probably another good decade, maybe even 2 decades. So that was a bit of a shock, but not. I mean, who would Rory McIlroy signing for LIV? Would that shock you now? Would they be like, wow, I never saw that coming? Or would you be like, oh, he softened and seems to be
listen
to
what he said. He's very much backtracked and changed his tune hugely.
Would you be shocked though?
No,
I don't think I would. I would have been last year.
I'm not shocked about Meronk. If anything, I'm kind of happy that he's done it, because I feel like he was maybe
it's a reward for his hard work.
I just feel like he was trodden on a little bit, and I'm not surprised that a bit like when you decided to turn pro after the fact that you didn't want to wait another year, you couldn't be bothered. Once something gets burnt, once you get agitated by something, it's really hard to change that.
Yeah.
And with regards to Rory, has he been burnt by the PGA Tour? 100%. You can see it coming through him that he's been burnt by that.
This might be a generalisation, but golfers, the type of sport they play, and only my experience from knowing golfers at lots of different levels, but they're the better ones at each particular level, very focused, single-minded. I don't want to say arrogant, because that's not the word, but they're in their own little bubble, and when they decide something, they're right, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think you almost need that. You need that quality. Is it a quality? Maybe not the right word. You need that though to be so good at sport, or in your particular sport, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
And I think that once Meronk, once he's not got in that Ryder Cup, that must have been right. I'm going to literally.
It's a dagger in the heart for him.
100%. And like I said, you can't blame him for making what is a financial decision, but it's also an emotional decision, isn't it?
The other thing as well is it's not just about the fact that, think about when we were at the Open.
Yeah.
There were people there asking him questions from the media, saying, "What's it going to feel like?" And literally wording it in these. What is it going to feel like as the first Polish player to ever play in the Ryder Cup? I remember that question.
I can remember that. That wasn't just asked once. It was asked numerous times around when we were around it.
Yeah.
In different ways of asking it, but every question that was directed at him was from that perspective, wasn't it?
100%.
I mean, he would have heard he'd have heard nothing other than Ryder Cup talk all the way, probably from before the Open, right the way through to when the team was announced.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of pressure on that, isn't there? And he would have, even if he believed the hype that the media were giving him that he was going to play, and even if he hadn't had any indication whether he was going to be in or not, the impression you were getting from the media was that he was a sure thing to be in that team.
He was on form. He was winning. He was on form, and the biggest factor there was the fact that he'd won on that golf course to win their national championship, and that to me was a major thing, and of which why I really got behind the guy.
Yeah,
because I felt that he was done over a little bit. On the flip side, they went on and won the Ryder Cup. There's no argument to that. Would he have made any impact? Do I think that if Meronk was on that team and somebody else within that group wasn't on that team, do I think they would have won? Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. But Luke Donald can always justify not picking him by saying we won, didn't we? Correct. Then he would have been open to criticism if some of the more controversial picks hadn't contributed so greatly in the actual event. Your Justin Rose, your Shane Lowry, etc.
Yeah.
If they hadn't performed and we'd lost, that would have been his first question. Why didn't you haven't picked players on form, you've picked them on past experience.
Yeah.
But you can't argue with what Luke Donald did as Ryder Cup captain and his selections, and it paid off.
No. And at the end of the day, golf is changing, has been changing for the last 2 years as far as I'm concerned, and is continuing to change in a quick, fast-paced way. But it's also changing not just on the professional level, isn't it? It's changing within the ranks of golf in general.
Yeah.
You sent me a message earlier today, a quick-fire message that came through with a screenshot of the 12-hole golf course, Farrington Park, which is a golf course I think in Somerset.
I did a bit of research. Did a bit of research on it, and it was a traditional 18-hole golf course, and I think some of it's been sold off for development. Which instead of, there's quite a few I can't remember how many golf courses a week close in the UK, but it is quite a scary amount that have closed. But instead of closing the complete golf course down, they've changed it into a 12-hole golf course and added some more leisure facilities around, haven't they? But it's been developed, isn't it? The other 6 holes. Like
you say, it's moving down to a 12-hole golf course. Now, if you take us back 4 years ago, Bernie, what was I talking about with golf courses?
We were always discussing the fact that originally, why are they 18 holes? Who can afford to play golf for 4 to 5 hours at times, even longer if you're playing in a big event?
Yeah.
And that's not going to appeal to our age and slightly below, who maybe have families and have work commitments and other stuff going on. That to take out of your week 4 to 5 hours, maybe 2 or 3 times a week to play to a decent standard, and then add that to your practice. It's not practical for a number of people.
Yeah.
And they needed to either make golf quicker or make golf more efficient.
Yeah.
And we were talking about why not open a 12-hole golf course? Why not? Why is there not more 9-hole golf course? That seems to be every 9-hole golf course seems to be wanting to be an 18-hole golf course.
Yeah.
And a lot of 9-hole golf courses, we've got literally one 9-hole golf course now in our area, probably in a 25-mile radius. Whereas before, go back 10, 15 years, there was 5, 6, 7 9-hole golf courses.
What's interesting about this particular setup and this golf course is that obviously they're moving from 18 holes down to 12 holes, as well as constructing a paddle tennis.
That's massively on the rise.
Huge.
It's like the big thing in sport.
Pickleball courts. That's an American game, isn't it? Children's play park, outdoor gym, and a maintenance hub, which I assume is the maintenance of everything.
That sounds like it's more geared to family and getting the family on site, spending money,
Yeah.
getting them there all day long.
Yeah.
The gents and any lady golfers go and play golf. Family members who don't play golf have got the option of other sports. There's probably be a nice restaurant there. There's leisure for the swimming pool there as well.
Yeah.
Stuff like, I mean, you could literally spend there all day, play your golf, have your lunch, have dinner, play some other sports, use the leisure facilities, and the whole family can be involved in what was golf, I guess.
For me, when I look at golf courses and I think about my young family and things like that, 12 holes of golf, you can nip out and do 6 holes, you can do 12 holes, you can even do 9 holes if you want to do that. And then the fact that you've got other facilities, a little outside gym, play area, you've got everything there to keep a family there for the day. And, this golf course have taken it down this front because they're seeing, as you quite rightly said, they're seeing the closing down of golf courses left, right and centre up and down the country because it's a falling membership. Well, the members say that they are in uproar over the plans.
That's the
chosen
biggest
to move to other clubs. So there's 300 and I want to say, no, not 360, but there is huge amounts of members that are cancelling their membership.
So the biggest shock will be for the traditional golfers.
Who turn up
the
every
older
week.
Golfers who've played that golf course. I don't know how old Farrington is. I presume it's got.
And the only reason you say older is because they're retired. They've got more time on their hands, so they can go and play a bit more.
They've
golf.
got the more time to play 18 holes, and it's a massive change.
Yeah.
And if it was a 9-hole course and it had gone to a 12, they'd probably accept that. But if they're used to playing an 18-hole golf course, and then you suddenly you've changed you've taken it down to 12 holes. You've made it different. People don't like change.
No.
I'm not criticising anybody. There'll be people listening to this and people watching this on YouTube who will be like, golf doesn't need to change. That's fine. You can have your opinions. We're in between now, aren't we? We're not the younger generation. We're not the older generation. We're right in that middle bit, and we're
in no man's land.
We're in no man's land, but we're quite. I would like to think we're in both camps as such, but we can also see how golf has evolved in the 30 odd years that we've been involved in it. It needs to change to continue, and I'm not a massive fan of LIV. I don't watch it or watch very little of it. But things like this, and you've got to try them. Things need to be happening, and if that encourages more families to go and play golf and to be around golf environment, whether that's 12 holes or a 3-hole golf course or whatever, if there's more people playing golf, more people coming into golf, and it's seen as a family environment, then that, for me, that can only be beneficial for future generations for the sport.
Agree.
And I mean, think if you look at your example, your family, the kids might not want to play 18 holes. They might want to go out and play 6 holes. You could play 6 holes with Bobby in the morning. Laura and Charlie go off and go swimming.
Yeah.
Then you switch over. Laura goes and plays 6 holes with Bobby or 6 holes with Charlie, and you go and do something. You could be there all day. I mean, imagine the whole place has got to benefit from all the money you're spending there, the time you're spending there. And what an environment to spend your leisure time in.
Yeah.
I just think it's a great idea.
Golf is changing, not only on the front of tour level golf. It is changing with watching it changing. It's all unfolding in front of us, but it's also changing with regards to the face of what do people want with their time. Time is a tough one to.
Of course, it's precious, isn't it?
It's a precious thing for
commodity,
us all, and things have to change. And I think that moving more to 12-hole golf courses or loops of 6 or whatever it's going to be is going to allow people to have that time back to be able to put into other parts of their life. And that's, I think that's a positive for grow the game.
100%.
I think they'll lose members
initially,
but I think in the long run, this place will be positive and will flourish.
You've only got to look. We're based at a traditional golf course which is over 100 years old, well over 100 years old.
Yeah.
And if I play golf on a Saturday morning, I feel comfortable in this environment. I can wear what I want more or less now. I wear joggers, I've got a hoodie on, I've even got a T-shirt underneath, which you can't see, but you can basically wear, within reason, as long as you're smart, you can wear what you want, which has changed massively to how it was. But play golf, play nice and early on Saturday, I finish, I'm done by 11 o'clock. The girls that I've been seeing at different times, not just one or two, but like 3 or 4 of them, come at the golf club, meet me for like, oh no, I can't walk in there on my own.
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't walk in there on your own? Oh, I feel uneasy. The atmosphere. The ones that have decided to come up the golf club, I've had to walk to the car park to meet them, to physically walk them in.
Yeah.
They won't walk through the clubhouse to come and meet me. They know where I'm going to be sat, but they don't feel comfortable with that. And that, for me, is the worst thing about golf clubs. Yeah. Because I want as many people in there as possible, spending money, because that, ultimately, if they spend money and the club does well, they're going to reinvest it back in the golf course, make the facilities better, make it a better place, and improve my enjoyment of the golf course. But something like that, the dress code's going to be relaxed to a certain degree. I would think that a lot of people will feel comfortable to walk in there on their own, see people they know, it's friendly, it's welcoming. It's exactly how I'd want the golf club or a golf complex, a leisure complex, to be.
Yes. We could witter on about this forever, Bernie, but this was an emergency meeting, and I feel like we can bring this one to a close now. But it will be interesting to see what unfolds, certainly from where we're making this now, in the next 24 hours, 48 hours with Adrian Meronk. What team he goes into, where it goes.
It might get binned if he doesn't sign.
Correct.
He might never see this or hear it.
I know, it might not ever come out.
And then we've wasted more of our precious leisure time.
Again. Well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. If you are listening to this on the podcast, thank you very much for watching, if you've been watching this on YouTube. And we'll see you again for episode 13.
That'd be unlucky.
That'd be unlucky for some, wouldn't it?